Hi again, this is Harry Lythall here. I'm 73 years old and I'm aware that old age is getting closer. But in this video I will deviate from the radio theme and tell you a little bit about how it feels to be getting old. Also some of the things that you can do about it. I do have more videos in the pipeline, but today I may surprise you with this topic. From personal experiences actually. But let me tell you now that growing old, it just ain't fun anymore. But you can make it fun if you have a positive attitude. When I was a kid, I always wondered why old people were so grumpy and miserable all the time. But now that I'm old myself, I think I know why. Now, if you woke up in the morning, looked in your mirror, and you see what I see in my mirror, then you'd be grumpy and miserable too. But don't worry about it. This is how our society today is built. We're all judging ourselves on appearance as projected by the media. We are not all young and beautiful. Nearly all aging situations can have a positive side, and many problems even have solutions. But there are a few differences. For example, abbreviations. A year ago, after my wife passed, I joined an online dating service which was right outside my comfort zone. A lady sent me her photo and I replied, "You are very beautiful, LOL." And she asked me if I was being offensive, because LOL means laughing out loud. Today, younger people use abbreviations in text in a much more arrogant way. But gone are the romantic abbreviations. In my younger days, I wrote home to my girlfriend, and I used to write little abbreviations on the back of the envelope. LOL, that meant lots of love. Swalk, sealed with a loving kiss. And when I got to know her better, I wrote Norwich, which means knickers off ready when I come home. Oh, anyway, not so many years ago, I was really into DIY, which means do it yourself. Here is the kitchen that I renovated 15 years ago. I even did the plumbing and the electrics myself, mainly because the plumber didn't turn up. But today, I'm more into G-set diffy, which means get someone else to do it for you. So today I live alone, so I hired a team of 4 young ladies for £150 and to clean my house from top to bottom every month. Twice a year I hire a gardener for 8 hours to tidy up the garden, cut the grass, get rid of all the weeds and trim the bushes. And all of this, by the way, is tax deductible. As a pensioner, you can benefit from positive thinking and using your experiences to find alternatives. For example, I really needed a new pair of spectacles. That's these here. But here in Sweden, I was quoted £1,000 for them. And that's bloody ridiculous. So instead I spent £600 on a reasonable 4-star hotel in Spain for 10 days, and that included economy airfares. And in Spain I bought my new spectacles for under £500. I came back with a suntan. Well, not much of a suntan. I got new spectacles and I felt a lot happier after my free holiday in the sun. So think positive. The big secret of getting old is not to be miserable, but to accept it and always look for the positive. Every wrinkle, I've got a few of those by the way, every wrinkle is the remnant of having a blooming good laugh during my life. Since retirement 1 year ago in January 2024, my food and leisure habits have changed. I now tend to eat old cheese that is mouldy, such as Gorgonzola and other blue cheeses. The wines and the whiskies I drink are all many years old, often over 16 years. And would you believe it, I even drive a car without a roof. It's true. 3 years ago, I became depressed after my wife departed. So I thought I would cheer myself up, and I bought a sports car that I'd been dreaming about for 46 years. But more and more these days, I walk into a room and then I have to stop and think, why did I come in here? But I've been told that it's quite common with people that are even 20 years younger than me. So maybe that is not an old age thing. It's just something to worry about. But it's probably just a general life malfunction. There are mental tricks you can use to remember, for example, people's names or give presentations. For names, you just need to get a handle on them somehow. For example, Nicholas. That can be without underpants. That is Nicholas. That arrogant project manager, Richard, can be abbreviated to Dick, which I remember as being dictator. But if you cannot remember someone's name, then don't admit it. Simply ask, how do you spell your surname? And they may reply, S-Y-K-E-S, David Sykes. But have you forgotten my name? You reply, of course I haven't forgotten your name, David, but I just wasn't sure if it was Sykes with a Y or Sykes with an I. Okay, you get around it nicely. But if you want to give a presentation to a load of people about, or you make a YouTube video like this one, then you can think about your home. Follow the wall when you come in the front door. And to the left, I have got a window, I've got a coat stand, stairs, table, cupboard, a plant, glass case, and so on. And these I can't forget because it's all a part of my home. So make a mental and stupid, ridiculous image of each object, linking it to the next topic of your presentation. The more stupid or funny, silly the picture is, then the better you'll remember it. It will not take you much practice to give a 60-minute presentation without even referring to your notes. Now, when you get old, the body changes, and one of the unusual points about growing old that surprised me was actually body hair. I have quite a lot of body hair, and I knew that it got thicker when you get older. But would you believe I have to shave my ears and my toes? No kidding. Apparently, the thicker body hair also grows on my toes. And worse still, it like slopes forward. So when I pull on my socks, it pulls the hair backwards. And that can be uncomfortable. It can sting a bit when I walk. And also the hair roots, they often become like infected. So I have to shave my toes. Meanwhile, I've stopped growing taller. In fact, I've shrunk a little, about 1 centimetre in the past 10 years. But instead, I seem to be growing out sideways, well, mostly at the front. But I blame it on a hernia. And here's a fun fact. I've now mastered the ability to sneeze, fart and pee, all in the same movement. Occasionally, this can be a little bit embarrassing. There are many other changes to the body. I get lumbago or backache, and they can be quite debilitating. Now, pensions don't go very far either. And I've come to the conclusion that I am a trans-finance. That is to say, I'm a filthy rich and young man, but I'm trapped in an old poor man's body. I mean, today, even spammers have changed their tactics with me, and this is due to my age. Many years ago, I used to receive email messages or text messages or telephone calls for, let's say, Viagra, miracle drugs to enhance virility. Today, I get calls from sellers trying to get me to buy Sanatogen and something called Vita Pro. Now, Vita Pro is not a toothpaste. It's a dietary supplement for geriatrics. Then there are companies who want to buy my house from me now, but let me live in it until I die, although I have to pay rent. So that way I can have loads of money while I'm still here to enjoy it. Apart from paying the rent, that is. Sounds great, except that instead of the relatives getting an inheritance, It's the company that would get the house when I eventually do pop my clogs. I should also plan my funeral now, apparently, and change my last will and testament to favour some bizarre charity in Africa or all sorts of things. Nah. Instead, I found a much cheaper solution. I found an app that can block some of these messages on my telephone. It can block phone calls, and the problem's solved. No problem. But if you do get any of these calls, then, by the way, to answer them is to use the deception and sarcasm that you've learned over the years. A suspected spam call arrives, so you may answer, "Hello, Stockholm Police English Service, how can I help you?"
Is this Harry Lythall?
Harry Lythall. Do you have his extension number?
No, sorry, I don't have that.
Do you know which department he works in? Well, at this point they usually hang up and they never call you again because they take you off their distribution list. You can be really inventive with the scenarios. If you want to be silly about it, it's "Hello, British Intelligence, Stockholm branch," or "IT Security, English Help Desk." But my particular favourite is, "Thank you for calling the Save the Children Appeal Fund. Your £100 telephone donation has been gratefully received. If you wish to make a further donation, then please call again. Have a nice day." And then you hang up. One of my basic rules is to never, ever agree to anything on the telephone. Unless, of course, you have initiated the telephone call yourself. When people ring you, they can be anybody, they can be anywhere, you have got no control over where the calls are coming from. You don't even know where it is, and it can be reported falsely. So never ever give out any banking or credit card details. Banks never call anyone asking for your PIN codes or account numbers. If you are really mean and want to have some fun with telesalesmen like me, then keep changing the subject and ask personal questions. You see, they have got a rehearsed script to follow. So I delight in getting them off track and away from their rehearsed manuscript. Then there's technology. I used to program RF systems, but now I need reading glasses just to figure out where the on-off button is on the TV remote control. And speaking of glasses, I own about 6 pairs of reading glasses? Yet somehow I can never find one of them when I actually need them. In fact, I need a pair of normal glasses like these so I can find the reading glasses. If you want some good advice from me about getting old, then I've got 3 golden rules, plus 1. Number 1, never ever pass by a toilet. If there's a queue for it, then get a place in the queue. Number 2, never trust a fart. They can be unpredictable and they can also be more noisy than before. And number 3, if you get a romantic feeling, then don't waste it. They don't happen very often. And the extra one, never take sleeping tablets and laxatives at the same time. I've never done it myself, but I heard of old people who have. Get some exercise. I've started exercising again, well, sort of. I park my car a little further from the supermarket entrance. Well, these are baby steps, literally. But seriously, I do walk instead of taking the bus whenever I can. Unless, of course, it's chucking it down with rain. Last November, I walked at a brisk pace to the medical centre for my annual checkup, while almost running. It's about 3 kilometres up a hill, and I got straight in without waiting. The nurse connected me to the ECG machine. started taking readings, pushing buttons and things. And after a few moments, the nurse said, "Wait a moment, please." And then she left the room. A few seconds later, the doctor came in. He looked at the electrocardiograph and he said, "Mr. Lythall, stay calm and relax, please. We've called for an ambulance." Well, I spent 5 days in Stockholm's Danderyd Hospital. The x-rays and the investigations proved that my heart is healthy. No plaque build-up, nothing. The 185/110 blood pressure was because I almost ran to the clinic and the ECG was taken too soon. Looking on the positive side, I had a free heart checkup with contrast x-rays that showed that I was healthy. Positive. I had 5 days surrounded by pretty nurses. Positive. 3 free hot meals a day plus snacks 24/7. And I didn't even have to cook for myself or wash the pots afterwards. It was actually quite relaxing. And I saved money on lighting and heating, and I didn't even need to use my car and burn petrol. So, no matter what your age, always remember that you are not old until your dreams become regrets. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this extra video interesting. If you feel you are old, do not forget to always look on the positive side in every situation and look for those little alternatives and fun ideas. Sometimes you can just do things spontaneously just for fun. Well, take for example my New York hat. It's a really good conversation starter. I've even started a gin and tonic club every Friday. And I invite other pensioners round to my house for a drink and a chat. So, I'll see you in my next video. That is, if I can remember which video is supposed to be up next. Oh, anyway, don't forget to click on some of the buttons below and feel free to leave comments. All constructive comments are gratefully appreciated. Very best regards, and have a nice day from Harry Lythall, SM0 VPO in Sweden. Cheers.